ALG really saved me. I put all of my success on joining this group. People constantly checking in saved me.
I made so many friends with people that I've never met, but I feel incredibly close to, and I consider them family.
It really is a family. It is a place where you can just be yourself and there is no judgment. There is no shame. You are so welcome there.
Nobody has to be in this alone. Everybody is either going through or has gone through the same thing at one point.
Let's do this.
Welcome back to another episode of the ALG podcast. First and foremost, guys, please do us a favor and 5-star rate and review the podcast. These 5-star rates and reviews really go a long way, and we really appreciate them. We've been looking at them, and we really like to hear your feedback. First and foremost, happy Friday if you're listening to this on day of drop. As always, I am John Arpino, otherwise known as J. Arp's Journey. I am joined alongside by a partner in crime, David Fit_D-Rock Roden, and today we have a really special guest. She is a member of the ALG community, Maggie Keto. Maggie, what's going on?
Hello, everybody.
How are we doing?
Doing good.
David, how are you today?
I am I'm gonna say phenomenal a lot today. I feel like saying phenomenal a lot, so I'm gonna say phenomenal.
Very nice. David's coming off a 5-day water fast.
Yeet.
Something like that.
Yep, did a 5-day. I finished on Friday afternoon, so I've had 2 days of food in me. So I got my first lift in today and did a little titty work, and it was fantastic.
That is awesome. Well, we're not here to talk about David's titties, unfortunately, today, or his water fast. Today, it is all about Maggie. So, Maggie, for those that don't know, you've lost 119 pounds, and I want to talk all about your journey because you are a guiding light within the ALG community. For those that are not involved, Maggie is the go-to with almost everything. I know that she's the leader pretty much of the women's group, which I truly appreciate. I know that she's the glue that keeps a lot of them together. So I'm really excited for this one. And yeah, Maggie, please just take us to the beginning.
I gotta add this spicy piece too, because on our community calls, at any point in time, she can just be like, you know what? I'm taking over for the next 10 minutes. And I'm going to go spicy. And she just starts dropping bombs and just yelling at everyone. Let's go. Love yourself. Let's do this. Yeah. And so I flip and love it.
Yeah, no, she's amazing. She is. So I need to know soup to nuts, top to bottom, everything there is to know about Maggie.
Well, let's start at the beginning, I guess.
I guess.
So I've been overweight my whole life. Well, first of all, I was born in Peru and I came to the States when I was.
You're born in Peru? I didn't know that. Very cool.
I'm imported goods, honey.
Amazing.
So I moved to the States when I was 3 and I grew up on the East Coast in Maryland. And I was a very, on the outside world, it was the United States, but inside my house, it was very much like Peru, 24/7, just very animated. Our lives revolved around food all the time. What are we eating? When are we eating it? How much are we eating of it? It was your typical clean your plate. I had times where I was, sitting at the table well past dinner time because I wouldn't eat what was given to me, kind of a growing up situation, which didn't help things, but anyway, so I started gaining weight right around, I was 3 when I got here. I think right around 5th grade, I started gaining weight. And so from then on, I was a chubby kid through school. I was an overweight kid in high school. I was an obese 20-year-old, a morbidly obese 30-year-old. And so I've lived in a large body and consuming lots of food and eating lots of feelings for a long time of my life.
And what was, I'm just intrigued, what was your heaviest weight?
300.
300.
Yeah. And 10 years ago, almost 10, I guess 10 and a half years ago, I walked into, my therapist's name is Carol. So I walked into Carol's office.
The infamous Carol.
The infamous Carol. I'm so blessed to have her. She's really been like the universe has brought her to me. She's my mother.
Yeah.
Very special. Anyway, so 10 and a half years ago, I walked into Carol's office and I said, I really want to get to the bottom of my weight problem. Like, I understand, like, I'm a very left brain person. I understand the analytical part of it. I can make the connections in my childhood. I can see where all this stuff happened, but please help me understand how I can get out of this. How can I take what I understand and get out of it? And I'll never forget it, because you think you're going in for one thing, but they throw you for a loop when they ask you a question. And she looked at me and she goes, Maria, do you think that you have anxiety problems? And I looked at her and I said, no, I don't think so. I mean, not any more than anybody else would normally. And the minute those words came out of my mouth, my whole life changed.
Really?
The truth is that your friend me is riddled with anxiety. And that's why I've made those choices my whole life. And that's why I kept sabotaging myself and getting in my way and not really believing in myself. That's why it never happened for me.
Right.
I mean, I can remember like doing Deal-A-Meal when I was a kid, like that far back. Yeah. Like, and
What's
I remember.
Okay, you got to fill me in. I don't know what Deal-A-Meal is.
Oh my God. It was Richard Simmons' program at the time.
Oh, Richard Simmons. Oh, okay.
David loves Richard Simmons.
I was a child, and I can remember because at that time he would call some people, like when you ordered his program, and I was at school that day and he called and he talked to my mom. I was so mad. I missed
Really?
I know. And she's like, oh, he called, and whatever. It was cute. Anyway.
Fascinating.
Deal-A-Meal, Weight Watchers, Jenny Craig, Slim Fast, Dexatrim, all the horrible things that, you should not be doing to your body. And the whole time I was trying to figure this out, I was trying to control what was going in my mouth, which is the number one why I failed every single time. Because what you have to control, it was what goes in here, honey, not in here. This comes first and then this follows. But at the time, I didn't understand that. So my work with Carol for the past decade or more has been sort of bridging the gap between the negative things that I was told as a child and the person that I want to allow myself to be. Because when you're sort of conditioned and talked to the way that I was talked to,
right,
it's really hard to think, oh no, I'm not that person, or no, I don't want to be that person. It's really hard.
And when you say that, when you say condition this way, and what do you mean exactly? Like, what is when you're a kid and you're looking back on what brought about this, what do you mean exactly?
Well, it's kind of hard to talk about, but it has.
Okay.
No, you don't have to talk about it.
Yeah, you don't talk about it.
Talk about it. So I'm just saying, it's like, I might cry, but I'm going to try to be a big girl, not cry. We'll see about it. So I had two wonderful parents who loved each other very much, but they weren't perfect. Nobody's perfect.
No one's are.
Everyone, and in hindsight now, I understand that, like, my father, who was the crux of my mental problems, was doing the best that he could with what he had, which wasn't very good. And that's just, it is what it is. It's just that simple. Anyway, so for me, the pain really came from my father, who was also overweight, but for whatever reason, thought that it was okay to put me down.
Right.
Whenever we would be out walking around and he would see an obese person, and I'm a child. This is not grown me. This is child me. He would look over and see somebody who was obese and say, there goes your future. And whenever I tried to look pretty and put makeup on, you look like a whore. And whenever I was just sitting around and doing nothing, well, you need to get it together, because if you don't lose weight, there is no man who is going to want to marry you. I mean, I could go on and on about the comments.
Yep.
It was awful. And at the time, I didn't know any better. And so I thought, well, he must be right.
Right.
And that's what I've been fighting my whole life.
I love that, because I mean, just the idea of, like, I call it sincere ignorance. And it's like, it's always interesting most of the time with friends and family where they sincerely wish the best for you. They're just ignorant to the fact that they just don't know what they don't know. And, like, it's crazy how someone can rationalize, all right, I'm trying to get my daughter or whatever to try to make the best out of her life. And so the best way I know how to do that is to scare the shit out of her. Right. And like that, and like, probably not the best approach, but based upon what his past was, is probably that made sense.
Yeah.
And
he grew up in a different time, and he grew up in privilege. And I also grew up in privilege to a certain point in my life. A big part of my life, I grew up in privilege, and he wanted for nothing, and he was spoiled, and he had no qualms about it.
Right.
And when we were kids, he wouldn't like, we had a very colorful life. Like we did a lot of travel with her. We had a very colorful life. Anyway, so when we were kids, if whatever activity was happening didn't interest him, then he would not be involved.
Okay.
And so it was mostly me and my mom. And when my dad would, berate me over and over again, I would cry to my mom about not wanting to be a fat kid and being desperate to get rid of it. And my mom was, she was doing the best that she could, but she didn't know what to do other than, help me get Deal a Meal or Slim Fast or whatever. Right. We never talked about the inside stuff that was really the crux of the problem.
Well, as far as anyone's concerned, there's no emotional attachment to food. It's you're not dealing with anxiety and all that. It's just, oh, you're obese. You eat a lot. You have to stop doing that. No one ever dives deeper into what else is going on and what can be going on upstairs. So that's what brought you to Carol. And how did Carol make you realize that you had this like big emotional attachment to everything going on?
Well, a big turning point in one of our sessions, and again, like there's two things I'll never forget. The first was the first session of the anxiety question, and then the next was like halfway into our work, where I was a person who put everything and everybody first except for me, with I'm telling you, like at my expense for the majority of my life, without even realizing that that's what I was doing. Right. I was trying to find my value and my worth in buying other people's appreciation and affection and approval of me, just because that was how like my subconscious said to me, okay, here's how we're going to cope. You're going to be a good girl and you're going to do all these things and everyone's going to love you. Right. And so also in adopting that kind of behavior, I became the person who like I would beat myself up more than anybody else. Right. Everything had to be perfect. And I was so used to having people knock me down that I started to knock myself down first. And so Carol was pushing on me one day, like, just like, why do you do this? And why do you do that? And we were just going down this sort of ladder of like, why do you put yourself last? Why do you let people treat you like garbage? Why? And then finally, after all these whys, and Carol's an older lady. She knows what she's doing. Like she's hitting me in that gut because she knows that it's going to come up. Right. And eventually my answer to her, and I was just crying, I said, because I want to beat everyone else to the punch. Because why? I just want to beat them all to the punch. I need to do it to myself first because I'm tired of getting hurt. Right.
One of the biggest things that I said was, I was the type of person to take the ammo out of someone's gun before they had the chance to shoot me. Like I was already making the joke about myself before you had the chance. It's a coping mechanism. And I think all of us who have come from a place of obesity, morbid obesity, especially at a young age, we learn how to do that very quickly.
Yeah. And it's interesting because again, we're not adapting these coping mechanisms on a conscious level at all. Right. All of these things are happening in the back to just go into survival mode because that's what our experience, our nature, and our nurture is kind of telling us is going to work, even though it really doesn't work.
Right.
So
exactly.
So once we got past that, halfway in, like 5 years in, then everything just kind of changed for me. I was always, and I still am to some extent, I was always a rule follower and I wouldn't ask questions. I went to Catholic school, and that's like a whole other 5 million hour show we could do. I thought that, like, most South American families and people are very Catholic, and I grew up in a very Catholic house, and I never felt like it was for me. It didn't it never resonated with me. I couldn't have what they called like the blind faith. Like I got all my sacraments. I was in the community. I went to the school. It was in my face every day, but I never believed it. And when I hit like 39, I think is when things really took a big change for me. And I decided that it was okay to not have to be somebody that I'm not. After all of the time that Carol and I had been putting in that work in my 30s, I was able to see that was, we call her Little Maria, right? That was Little Maria who experienced that sort of not so great start. But now here's this Maria, and here's what she wants. And so we have to change the tapes in our head and bring in different conversations to be able to move in the direction of a more sort of altered state that we want to be at. Because I did not want to be that person anymore. So we started with a lot of work on anxiety. We did a lot of workbooks. We did a lot of affirmation work. I'm a huge proponent. And when I see Ange doing her affirmations, I'm just like, woo, honey, all day, every day. Here's the thing about affirmations, and Carol and I did them a lot. I didn't understand this. But so you have sort of the backstory of like how my father was like a big, hurting point for me growing up. And so if you sit down and you throw all of these comments that he was throwing at me for the majority of my life, a long time, that's all you're seeing. If you make the choice to get those affirmation cards out or to read something to change the tape in your head, and just by looking at that card every day, guess what? You're planting a seed. Well, I don't want to have those conversations anymore. This is where I'm moving. All you have to do is plant the seed. And for me, it was a lot of hard work, but the simplest change that I did to my life was getting into the affirmations, getting the cards, enjoying the different decks. I put them on my stories all the time. They, like I said, plant tiny little seeds that eventually over the years, you come to think, well, yeah, I do deserve that stuff. And yeah, I am that person. And what the hell is wrong with me? Why have I been sitting in this state of not loving and accepting myself? And everyone always says, you can't love anybody until you love yourself. It sounds so cheesy, but guess what?
It's true.
It's true. And love, and look, I was a part of the fat acceptance community situation for a long time. Because why? Because like all of us, we were looking for somewhere to fit because there's nowhere to go. Like our families make fun of us. Our friends make fun of us. The kids we play with make fun of us. We just want to go somewhere where everyone's like us and they understand, and they're not going to do that. I get that. But in my heart, even though I was, reading books about fat acceptance and I was listening to podcasts and I had YouTubers that I watched like religiously, in my heart, I knew that while it's fine to find a place and to have a home to feel accepted, this weight situation, no.
Right.
Not for me. This is just the God's honest truth. I come from a family with diabetes and high blood pressure and all kinds of other nonsense. In my mid-30s, I went to the doctor and I had a ridiculous blood pressure. I mean, I can't even tell you. It was like, I want to say it was like in the 165 over something ridiculous. And I was immediately put on on 2 blood pressure medicines. Nothing opened my eyes faster than that. Then after that, I was put on metformin.
You're on metformin too.
I was, because I was insulin resistant. My A1C was just creeping right there. But I'm Hispanic, I'm overweight, family history, so having to get on those 2 medicines. The truth is, look, it's like I said, it's great to be accepted somewhere. We all need to feel that way. Like I feel like I have the acceptance through this group and this community. And that's part of my practice, and it's part of my journey, and it's where I am now. Where I was then, I wasn't looking for that part of the journey. I was looking to be stagnant and find excuses for being okay to be on these medicines and okay to be eating, ridiculous amounts of food because everyone's happy and we all love each other.
We love who we are just because we're big.
I mean, No, absolutely not. It's just the truth.
Right.
There are a mazillion studies that were done, and any doctor will tell you that obesity will take you to an early grave. It's just that simple. And so once I made all these connections, and then I made a switch in my career. I went back to an employer that I worked at many years ago. I had the knowledge of Carol behind me, the knowledge of my connections and my work and my affirmations and knowing where I wanted to go. And now I needed that push to get things going. So I made a career change to a less stressful job. And the person that I was working for, he used to be overweight the last time I had worked there, like very overweight. And now he is a bodybuilder. I mean, yeah, it's amazing. And we had some conversations, and I thought, okay, maybe I can just start looking at sugars. Let's just start looking at sugars. And so I did an experiment to control, and I can't remember how many grams of sugar you're supposed to have, in a day to be a healthy human being. But I did some research and I started tracking, and I'm not a tracker person because that was horrible for me. I hated it. But anyway, I started saying, I'm going to track just how much sugar. And then the weight started kind of slowly falling off. And then I thought, okay, well, because I have this diabetes situation, I think what I need to focus on, my body's responding well to not having sugars and grains. So then I started looking into keto. And this June will be my 2-year keto anniversary.
Wow.
When I tell you that I have not had a piece of pizza or whatever in almost 2 years, I'm telling you the truth.
Damn.
Like,
Okay.
I'm 6 years pizza free.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
For East Coast people, that's hard, honey.
Yeah, exactly. Amen.
On every corner.
Yep.
But anyway, it became, I was thinking about this today on my hike. I was talking to Joe about this. It sort of became effortless for me. But I mean, it took an effort, but I found that satiation came from the meat and the fat and the little amounts of veg. And maybe if I wanted some fruit, I would do it.
Right.
It just happened. My relationship with food completely changed. I didn't understand. If you would have told me 2 years ago, you're only going to be eating 1 meal a day in 2 years, I would have laughed at you. And
so you're completely OMAD as well?
Yes. My day is coffee in the morning, electrolytes and collagen and water during the day, and then dinner. That's it.
Wow.
And I don't need anything else. Now, does that mean that it's looks like a perfect day every day? No.
Okay.
Because we're still fighting some battles in here. Like 2 weeks ago, I was on top of my game, doing really great with the stress. I think we were on a call, and I was telling you guys that I was happy that I had not eaten any feelings during this transition. Well, that changed. This week, I was not, and here's why it changed. I was out of my practice. I was not holding myself accountable on Instagram. I was checking in with the girls and just telling them, things are stressful. I miss you guys. I'm sorry I'm missing out, blah, 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 coming back. And I started to eat when I don't normally eat. Now, I don't necessarily think that it matters that it was all keto food, because overeating is overeating.
Correct.
So this week has been a challenge for me. But here's the thing. Before, the mentality would be like, well, can we cuss on here?
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. Fuck yeah, you can.
Yes, thank you. So before I'd be like, fuck that, honey. I'm starting on Monday. I'm going to binge on whatever the fuck I want.
Right.
Now, I don't have the desire to continue a binge for more than I can bear it, which is way less than it was before. And I don't know if that's because my stomach has gotten smaller, or I'm just not attracted to foods that aren't keto anymore.
I understand that.
It's weird, but that's just how it is. So this week, I've been just taking it day by day. One day, I might have done great. The next day, this sucks. That's all right.
So can I ask you a question? What is a day of falling off the wagon for Maggie look like? Because I know that you're kind of still sticking to a keto plan even when you're off the wagon.
Yes. So falling off the wagon for me means eating outside of OMAD.
Okay.
Yeah. And mostly it's been because I've been transitioning with my job for the last 2 weeks.
Right.
And really, I should have it's been an emotional week because it's been a difficult transition for me because I love them and I really wanted this last week to be just for me, and we just couldn't afford it. I mean, I know that's like my choice at the end of the day, but like it needed to be done. I had to be there.
Right.
But I've been going out to lunch with everybody. Everyone's been buying me lunch. I don't usually eat lunch. So that's a situation.
But you're not reaching for the Chips Ahoy's, and you're not,
No.
But see, this is how I'm going to go with that. This is what's so funny to me is like, it's still
good.
It's the standard. The standards have changed.
Yes.
And like, it's so funny that the poor eating standard of here compared to like where you're at, like OMAD keto standard level is here. And then you're considered off plan is like here.
Is someone's really disciplined.
Right.
And then someone
this is not like,
and that's not a knock at Maggie.
No, that's what's so awesome about it.
Right.
Yeah.
not at all. It's actually a testament to how that has changed my
exactly.
Because before, a binge would be going to the 7-Eleven, getting 3 or 4 Jamaican beef patties, and
Amen.
Oh yeah. Talk dirty.
In my car because I don't want anybody to see that I'm doing it.
Yep.
Okay. Now you're exactly right. Now what it looks like is I'm eating lunch where I normally don't eat lunch. And it's not that I'm depriving myself, it's that my body says,
Just
hey,
works
you
better.
have enough, just keep going. Okay.
Mhm.
So
Right.
when I have lunch, I'll have a steak salad. I'll keep it keto. But I'm still having an extra meal that I wouldn't normally have, which then I have noticed last week opened the gates to having snacks after dinner. They were keto snacks like stuff from Keto Crate, whatever.
Right.
This is my favorite thing, the momentum of that. Just like momentum and like the rich get richer, the poor get poorer, the fit get fitter, and the fat get fatter, where it's like, it is so interesting that controlling those negative and positive momentum cycles where one little thing, okay, easy, then you can pull back. But if you let it keep going, then all of a sudden it transitions from just this to then,
Floodgates
and then
open.
and all of a sudden you let that momentum hit for 3-4 days. And what was just like, I just had a keto lunch where I normally wouldn't. And then it turned into, then I had a snack after dinner. And then before you know it, you had a donut. And you're like, all right, the idea of donut wasn't even possible until this momentum happened.
Right.
And if you squash it early, it's easy. But if you let that momentum hit, oh my gosh, it's so much harder to come back.
Oh yes, it is. And do you remember? I would presume that the two of you at some point in your lives have had binges. I would.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember that feeling of like complete full and disgusting? Like I can't possibly.
Oh, it hurt.
Else in here, yeah. But
And then you do it anyway.
But then you do it anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%.
Yep.
And sort of that becomes a feeling that I would chase before I changed my life. It sounds weird to say.
No,
that.
not at all. No.
It's like punishment, right? Because that's what I was used to. Like
Right.
bad girl,
That's like a druggie, chasing the high and never getting the high. And
Complete addiction. Yeah.
I remember my favorite was I would get and this was even in the midst of my transformation. Occasionally it would hit and I would just be like, just feeling like crap and just kind of blah. And I remember one time getting a large deep dish Jets pizza and a breadstick. And I mean, this is a large deep dish Jets pizza. It's big and breadstick. And I remember eating the entire thing over about an hour and a half time period where I'd eat it. And then all of a sudden I was like 40 minutes in and I'm like, I'm so full right now. And like, there's still 4 or 5 slices left. I'm like, no, I'm finishing this. and it would hurt. And I would eat it and I would lay down and be like, this hurts, but I'm going to finish this.
Yeah.
And so
it's just like somebody with alcohol or drugs. It's the same. And then the next day you're paying for it. Your body is bloated and gassy and you may have diarrhea. You may be constipated. You might have a headache. You just feel disgusting. Like, like I don't want to feel that way anymore.
No. Right.
But it is fascinating how you can, this is the whole point of like ALG, I think is so important. I think it's what's going to make this community so incredible is because we acknowledge it. We don't resent it and we don't go against,
excuse me.
we don't sit here and judge people in these positions, but isn't it fascinating how humans and ourselves, and we can do things that hurt us and physically hurt us in the moment, and we do it anyways.
Absolutely.
It's just fascinating. Like, I know this pizza is going to hurt, but I'm doing it.
Yeah.
It's fascinating.
That's because that's our narrative,
Mhm.
you know? And
But I'm
it's a
just,
narrative
I'm sorry, go ahead.
fight. Oh, sorry.
No, not at all.
It's a narrative that we have to fight, no matter what our binges look like now. No matter what my binge looks like now, the binge is still happening. So that narrative is still lingering. And so we need to continue to do that work. And having a platform like ALG and a community like ALG, where we can all talk about the realness of a binge, okay, without any shame or fear of judgment, is crucial to taking the shame away from it, which gives it power over us. I have goosebumps.
I love you. You're so amazing and so real. And what I was going to say was, I just find it so fascinating and empowering. Your discipline.
He said fascinating.
Like your
That's like my
discipline.
word.
Sure. Your discipline in the fact of even on, even off the wagon, it's so clean. Like I kind of feel like I'm very much the same way. Like when I quote unquote have a binge now, it's not like I'm grabbing Lay's potato chips, I'm grabbing a bag of Doritos, I'm doing this, I stick to what I do, and I maybe go a little more overboard. You know what I mean? It's like I reach for an extra bag of moon cheese, or I grab another more Quest chips or something like that. But I'm never, my off the wagon is still someone's very disciplined. And that's what I find so fascinating about us now, because at one point in time we were very bad. All of us combined, the three of us,
100%,
very bad, and that's just a testament to show change is possible, that we really can rewire this thing up here that has drove us crazy for so long, that made us self-sabotage ourselves time and time again. We can correct that. Like there's people out there that don't realize how much correction, that it's possible. Yeah, and I think that you do a great job of showing that to the ALG community and to the ladies within ALG.
One of the things that hit me really hard, going way back, like 15 minutes ago in this conversation, that I think it is so essential. You do one of the things that I love to do, which is I speak about my previous self in the third person. So do I. Like it's like 400-pound David, and like you had made that statement of like, my previous life, like who I used to be. And I think it is so important, and how even people that have the massive transformations haven't done it yet.
Yeah, exactly.
And they haven't, like the word incision, or to cut. Decision means to cut off any other option, to cut off the past. And until you've made the decision, as in to cut off who you used to be, if you always sit in this middle ground of like, well, it's like you're always like, you're going to hold on to this. It's like, no, the decision that the past of who you once were is done. I'm remaking who I am. I'm going to rename her. I'm going to rename him. I'm going to call him 400-pound David. I'm going to call Fit D-Rock, and I'm recreating myself. That decision is so huge when it comes to the sustainability of the change. I think.
So let me ask you something. Is that door closed for you? Do you feel comfortable enough saying that door is closed to you? Like the past, and ever going in reverse and going back to Little Maria and stuff like that?
No. Do I feel like I'm ever going to revert to that? No. And here's how I know that I did the work right up here first, because when I had I lost all the bulk of my weight during the quarantine period, where you couldn't shop or anything. And when I had the first cleaning out of my closet, when I tell you that like 90% of my closet has left, I'm not kidding. That's amazing. And I knew I was doing the right thing, and I knew I was in the right frame of mind, because even at what I felt was that early point to get rid of that, I had zero hesitation at that point that I was ever going back to that life. Right. Ever.
So question real quick. What was your timeline for losing the 119 pounds?
So in the 2 years that I've been keto, I've lost 100 pounds.
Okay. Oh, okay.
19 of those pounds was before that, when I was just kind of like
finding who you were.
Mostly like Whole 30, but not really.
Lower glycemic, trying to control the sugar. Yeah.
I know I could talk about like the science behind this for science. I mean, I know.
Oh yeah, let's talk naughty. Let's talk science. Come on.
What was your favorite Fad Diet? Because I know you've probably been through all of them like I have.
My favorite, and then like one that works. It's
no, like as a joke.
Oh, my favorite. I would have to say Weight Watchers.
Me too. I was hoping you said that.
An unpopular opinion, but yeah, like when I first started trying to figure out what the hell a macro was and how keto fit into that, I got this app on my phone to track stuff, and I did it for 1 week just so I could have a visual of what it looks like, and that's it. I don't track any food.
Neither do I.
At all. I have taught myself through knowing what I'm allowed to eat, what's healthy, when to eat, and what portion size to eat. So I don't deprive myself. If I want grapes or berries, I will have grapes and berries. There's no deprivation.
Get it, girl.
That's what you have to do, because guess what? Every other time when we put ourselves in a corner with points and calories, and
exactly,
this is just for me. It's different for everybody. But we are basically starting by saying that we're denying ourselves, and we do not want to be denied, honey.
Nope.
No.
I have a very big rule. You don't limit me. You know what I'm saying? I hate feeling limited.
You put something in front of me and tell me I can't have it. Guess what I'm going to get it.
I'm going to have it. Yep, absolutely. No one puts baby in a corner. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, John, I don't think you're physically capable of being on time to a call. So
I just do it because I hate you. It's not because I can. It's just because I hate you. I sit here.
It's called reverse psychology, boys and girls.
I'll be all set up, and I wait. I wait for a minute after the time, just so David can text me and be like, "Hey, by the way, we're in the Zoom call." Yeah, I know, David. I know.
See that he needs you, David.
It drives me bonkers.
I do it on purpose because I love you. I'll be sitting here. I swear to God, everything will be all nicely nice, and I'll just be like, he's gonna text me in two. Yep, here it comes. Ding! Fit D-Rock. Hey man, I just want to let you know we're ready. We're on. And I'll be like, yeah, really good. Yep, here I come.
I'm gonna fucking kill you.
The truth is out, everyone.
It drives me nuts.
So anyway, back to Maggie. So favorite Fad Diet, we said that. Actually, I want to just kind of go backwards for a second because I'm very intrigued. Peruvian cuisine.
Yeah, what did that look like
growing up? Because like I would come from an old school Italian family, so like I know what that's like. But take me through what your
Italian
background is.
Food, but substitute pasta for potatoes and rice.
Really? Potatoes and rice.
It's carb heavy. I mean, and it's good and it's rich and it's fattening. There are a lot of parts of it that are actually quite good on keto, but no, like the amount of starch.
Oh yeah.
Forget about it.
Go to though, back in the day, what was your go-to dish?
My Peruvian dish?
Yeah.
Oh my God, there's so many. I don't know. I could tell you, but you might. Okay. Ready? Here it goes. All right. This is how you make it. So you take lima beans and you cook them. So we know lima beans are they're fibrous, but there's a debate on fiber that is neither here nor there. Right. Anyway, they're fibrous. So you boil them in a pot with chicken stock and raw strips of bacon, like a whole pack of bacon. You just boil it. And salt, pepper, and a couple other Peruvian spices. And then you mix it all, you blend it all like a mashed potato.
Okay.
Kind of consistency. And then if that's not carby enough, you put it over rice.
Really?
Yes.
So we do the same thing, except it's not lima beans, it's peas. And then it goes over macaroni.
Okay.
Bacon and all. It's the same exact thing.
Oh, yeah. So you don't see the bacon in it, but you sure taste it.
So you guys have your heritage food, and I just eat Taco Bell.
That's because you're super. No, I'm kidding.
We'll come cook for you.
Super white.
Meet the Johnson's
Dun,
wife.
dun, dun, dun.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm super sorry.
Yeah.
I'm really not, but I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I don't eat very much Peruvian food anymore.
I really don't eat much Italian food anymore either. I miss it. But so Maggie, I want to know, first of all, because I keep bragging about how important you are to ALG, but I don't know what brought you to ALG.
Yeah, I don't either.
Yeah. Well, when I first got on Instagram a year and a half ago, I got on there because I wanted to find like-minded people in keto community to figure out what they're doing and what's working and learn about, OMAD and carnivore and all these other things. So I got on there and I met Josh.
Okay.
And I think Josh's handle is Pels Renovation.
Yes.
So Josh and I became very good friends, and he's been a really awesome support for me and a good sounding board, and he's just a good human being. And so we were talking one day, like 6 or 7 months ago, and I said to him, Josh, wouldn't it be awesome if we could start like a group where we could Zoom with like a couple of people who are doing keto and just wanted to like support each other and just listen to each other talk? And he was like, yeah, that's a great idea. And we talked about it for a minute, but then, life happens and you just keep going. And then 6 months later, he's like, hey, remember 6 months ago when you talked about this group? And he's like, I just heard about this group. Are you interested? And I'm like, hell to the yes, I'm interested. Let's get in there. And so Josh was kind enough to bring me in there with him. And that's how I got to meet all the ladies and all of you and listen to everybody's stories. And it's been super for me, like in this community. Like I would never have posted any of those like pull up your shirt, look to the side belly pictures or front belly. Never. But all of the ladies, like from day one, they just embrace it. It's like my thing this year is to be done with shame. And so every little step I take closer in that direction in normalizing, not for others, but for me, this body looks like this, and that's okay because there's only one me. And let's celebrate that. And all of the ladies of ALG are so good about that. In whatever form or state they might be, if they're happy with themselves, if they're unhappy with themselves, it's there. They're completely transparent. Well, if they can do it, I can certainly do it. This is just skin.
Yeah.
It's skin.
Yeah.
That's it.
It's crazy to think, but I really feel as though that the ladies of ALG are kind of more transparent than some of the men.
100%. Not even a question. That's not even a question. I think about the men's community chat. I love it to death, but it's pretty sad.
No, but the ladies are very transparent with everything that they do, where they're at in, the stage of the game. And I think it's very refreshing.
It is. I would agree. It almost is so refreshing that if you're a new person coming into it, or maybe if you need a little bit of a boost, it sort of gives you permission to just kind of put your guard down and be okay with just being who you are.
Yes.
Like when we do the Thursday night calls with the ladies, I'm in the hair and makeup room getting ready for bedtime. Okay, girls, I'm getting dressed. It's like we're all there together, and we're in community and there's zero judgment. And we talk about everything. And the thing is, like, ALG is not just for weight loss.
No.
It's for everything, because the dysfunction that started up here, that ended up in here and out here, isn't just food. It touches every part of our lives. It, like when I touched on the call about, it touches our careers. It touches in our confidence. It touches in what we think that we're capable of doing. We have no idea. I could talk for hours about helping other women to just come up in the world, but we have no idea what we are capable of because we're so scared from these past lives that we've had that we're used to. Yes. And when we come into this power, you better look out, because don't get in my way. I want that for every woman who has ever struggled with her weight and her identity and how she feels about herself. I want nothing more than just to embrace the confidence of being you, not just because you lost 100 pounds, but from the get-go to now.
I have chills. I do. So where is this new power going to take you? I know that you're starting a new chapter in your career, but what else do we have going on?
I sort of have to think about that. I made some goals at the beginning of the year to start doing some weight training, and I have not made strides in that area. I have, however, made strides in running, so I'm happy about that. I struggle now because I was an obese person for so long.
Right.
I really struggle understanding what the right weight or the maintenance weight will be for my body and what that looks like.
It plays a role.
I'm trying to come to acceptance with that, and I don't know what that looks like yet.
Yep.
And all I have for a barometer of I can't think of the word. How can I not think of a word? Because I'm old and that happens. And I have to say that at least one time.
Hey. You're like what? 30, 28, 29? 20.
Yeah, that's right. 29. If I had to compare, and now I forgot what I was saying.
Barometer of association of what's a healthy weight,
maintenance weight for you.
Maintenance weight after being obese.
Because I've been obese my whole life, I don't understand what a standard size or healthy person or whatever looks like.
I agree.
I have the BMI, and that's pretty much it.
Mhm.
But
Fuck
when
the
I look at
BMI.
and I
Yeah,
tell
BMI
people,
is.
I'm not sure about that. Yeah, because when I look at the BMI and I share with somebody, according to this BMI, I gotta lose 30 more pounds. And people look at me like, where's that 30 pounds gonna come from?
BMI doesn't take into account that you have about 15 pounds of excess skin on you probably right now.
Right.
So that one is huge in and of itself. I think.
I've lost 278 pounds, and if I check my BMI right now, it tells me I'm still obese.
Yeah, you want to hear something funny? Right now I'm at 242 after refeeding. Being 6'1", 242, my BMI is still 31, which means I'm still considered obese.
Yeah, but that doesn't take into effect, all of
that's the whole point. Like,
right.
I mean, I have
exactly BMI doesn't take anything that
doesn't take muscle, doesn't take a lot of things. It's important. Don't get me wrong. Like, it's still a frame of reference, because again, the average person doesn't have my kind of muscle mass. The average person doesn't have 20 pounds of excess skin from losing 200 pounds. Right. So it's a frame of reference that works on a 6 billion person level. Like, if you look at 6 billion people, it works. But if you look at one person, there's a lot of things missing. That's
just
why
remember it took them almost like 25 years to change the food pyramid. So
yeah.
So part of that conversation for me is one, what does it feel like, or what will it look like? And two, right. now that I see the layers peeled back, so to speak, I see a lot of potential for this body, and I would like to see things get stronger. And that is a big desire of mine. So I'm kind of in a, I'm figuring it out. I'm researching. I'm just kind of like, I'm sort of gliding into it. And I'll tell you what too, I think my whole approach this time, and this, like, all the stuff had everything to do with it. But the difference too is this time, like when we're like, okay, I'm done with this shit. I'm getting it together. I'm going to lose 100 pounds this year. And then you go hard at it. And then guess what? Not so much. And so the difference for me this time is that I eased into all of it. I really tiptoed my way through keto, through carnivore, through fasting, through OMAD, just dipping my toes in and figuring out what was going to work for me. And the slow progression of my weight loss, I think, is why I'm able to be in a good place of not going back and keeping it going in the right direction.
Right.
So, question for you. I gotta preface it because it's an annoying question, especially inside the weight loss community. But I gotta ask because it goes off of what you were just saying. Is excess skin removal a part of what you want to do? Are you happy with what you have? Like, because you were saying you're trying to figure it out, strength training. Do you want to do excess skin removal? Do you not want to do it? What's kind of where you at?
I don't think so.
Cool.
That's awesome.
No, I love it.
I think that's incredible to even be honest with yourself and say, hey, this isn't the route I want to take, because I feel like there's people that feel like that's a you have to thing.
No.
And then there's people that, they kind of say, oh, I don't want to have it. And in the back of their mind, they're only saying that because they feel like they should say it.
Someone has to say it.
Right, because someone has to say it. But then, for you to actually say it and be like, no, I don't, I think that's awesome.
Yeah, no, I'm really enjoying seeing how things are sort of falling into place, if that makes sense.
No, that's incredible.
It's not, I mean, nothing is perfect. I believe it is how it is meant to be. And I'm okay with that.
I mean, it's always so funny because You can take me, who I've had 2 major excess skin removal surgeries, and I could sit here and go, you know what? My wings are still just a little too flappy. If I could just get a little more here, and oh my God, my nipple's just a little big. If I get the nipple just a little bit smaller, and it's like you can play this game for freaking ever.
Please don't ever squeeze your nipple on here ever again, by the way.
I'd like to thank you.
For all of you listening to audio, you want to go on YouTube to see me squeeze my nipple. I'm on OnlyFans. All right. That's gonna make a demo episode right there.
No, but I think that's a good thing to discuss too, is the fact that people that have sort of the mentality that we do might have those feelings after that, because we're constantly looking for like what's next.
The imperfection. The same shit, same shit, different day.
Exactly.
Right. And I think that there's some people that think, again, like a lot of us come from a place of we need that public acceptance. And I think that there's people that when they go through the weight loss journey and they're very successful with it, they feel like they have to get the excess skin removed because that's how the public is going to accept me. You know, it's going to bring everything together. And then for the first time in my life, I'm going to be this person that I thought I was. Well, you don't realize you are this person right now. You just have a little extra skin and it doesn't make a difference, you know? And it's just a conversation that you have to have with yourself.
100%. Now, I will say that, like, you know, you two have obviously had this surgery. And so I'm with you and for you, and I support you in that because that was important for you to do. There are people who do have, you know, issues that need to be addressed with this removing of the skin, for skin infection issues or for quality of life issues, you know? And so, and I support that, whatever anybody's choice is. But for me, I feel like, you know, I've had kids, like, this is getting great. It is what it is. I'm grateful. And that's how it's going to be.
Yeah, your primary focus is health, not necessarily aesthetics. Yeah.
No, honey, I got the aesthetics down.
It's that confidence. I love it. Absolutely love it. Well, Maggie, we are going to start to wind this one down. I appreciate you coming on today. But before we do, I do have a couple of questions for you.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Okay.
Let's do it. First and foremost, if you could go back in time and talk to little Maria, what would you go back and tell her? She has no idea what's going to happen, this incredible journey you're going to go on. What would you tell her?
I think I've answered this question many times in therapy. And I think the answer is very simple. I don't know that she could receive this message at that time, but I would tell her, just love yourself right now as you are, not any other time. Just as you are right now. You are good. You are special. There's only one of you.
I love that answer. Maggie, if you could give 3 pieces of advice to the people listening at home, and they don't necessarily have to be about weight loss, what would they be?
3 pieces of advice. I'll just take them from my 3 pieces that were important for my journey, I guess. The hardest and best work you're ever going to do is going to come from getting out of your comfort zone. Number 1, get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Number 2, get your ass to therapy, because no matter who you are or what perfect life you've had, you're struggling for a reason, and you need to be heard, and you need to know that it doesn't have to be like that for the rest of your life. It's a choice. And number 3, every day, all you can do, no matter what your day is looking like, is do a little bit better than the day before. Don't throw it all in the can. Just keep going. A little bit better than the day before.
Amazing.
Compound
Maggie,
effect.
Yeah, you are an amazing person. Like I've been saying this whole podcast, you are a shining, guiding light, and I truly appreciate it. And I appreciate you being on the show today and making some time to have a discussion with us. Where can people find you online if they want to connect?
Sure. I'm only on Instagram, and my handle is Maggie's Keto, MAGGIESKETO, Maggie's Keto. Thank you so much for inviting me to come on. I am so appreciative of what you guys have built with ALG and the community, and having everybody in my life has enriched it more than I can tell you. It is a huge part of my practice, and the calls on Wednesday nights are, unless I'm having some kind of crazy like situation going on, are paramount to part of my practice. I make that time because it's really important for me to stay on key with that. And I'm so grateful for you for building that platform and bringing everyone together and letting us have a place to feel like we're not judged and we're not alone, because we need a lot of that for the rest of our journeys, which for most of us will probably be until we take our last breath.
Truth.
Thank you for
Thank
that.
you both.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Guys, if you would like to join us on the ALG community call, you could do that each and every Wednesday night at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time, 5:30 Pacific, and that is an absolutely free call. Please follow the link that will be posted on the bottom of this video. If not, that is accountable-life-group.com. It's as simple as that. You can purchase the Accountable Life Journal on Amazon.com. There will also be a link for that. And if you could kindly please 5-star and rate the 5-star rate and review the podcast, if I could just bang that out correctly. We are reading those, and we will be having a giveaway for the Accountable Life Journal, and it will have to do with the reviews that are posted online. So stay tuned for that. There'll be more about that soon. Guys, thank you. Both of you, thank you for being here today. David, I don't think
Thank you for being on time today, John.
I don't think we have much more to say other than that. So from my heart to your heart, David, GFY, and enjoy the rest of your day. Stay beautiful, stay sexy, stay accountable. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.